Do you ever watch these crafting DIY videos and wonder, that's really cool, but how did it hold up? Well, today I'm going to go through my top most viewed videos of DIYs and show you where they are now and be honest about how they've held up. Let's go. Hello, I'm Noreen Burke and welcome back to the Crafty Organizer. If you are new, welcome. On this channel, I love bringing you videos on ways to get organized, declutter, do DIYs, upcycles, and anything crafty. I have made a lot of DIYs over the years. Sometimes it's just something that I saw in a magazine and didn't want to spend the money on, so I've replicated it. Other times I find treasures on the side of the road and I rethink how to make them. But the biggest thing that I've focused on is ways to create storage that you can DIY yourself for a very low budget. But where are they now? How have they held up? So I ranked my videos based on views and picked the top 10 from what you have watched. These aren't my favorites, but they're definitely yours. So I want to show you a quick recap of those as well as what I'm doing with them today. Number 10 is near and dear to my heart, and that's the collaboration I got to do with Sherry over at the Posh Paper Lady. Together we made this incredible DIY art storage cart. I got to make the storage unit and pegboard, and Sherry came up with the amazing, gorgeous items that hung on it. What I loved about this cart is it had storage on the front and back, and it could roll around. I made this because so many of you said you lived in small spaces and were looking for something that you could put away but pull out when you wanted to craft. So where is it today? Currently, I'm using this in the garage right at the end of my desk. I can slide it in, but when I want to use my Cricut, I just pull it out. I plug it into my computer, and all of the supplies for my Cricut with my mats and tools are on the back. This would have been my number 1, but surprisingly it came in at number 10. This was an inexpensive project to make. I do know this is one that a few of my viewers replicated, which made me so happy to hear, but I thought this was such a smart use with inexpensive items to create two-sided storage that you could easily put away. And with Sherry's amazing designs, it still looks lovely from the front, but it has all of this amazing storage inside. If you are interested in making this, I will have all of the links to the videos I cover today in the description, and I'll try and include cards, so if you're using this on your phone or tablet, you can just click on it and go to that video as well. But be sure to check out the link, and I'll also have a playlist to all of my DIYs in the description below. Number 9 is this stacking craft organization. Now this came about because I saw this stacking organizer that a friend of mine wanted for a gift, and I decided I can make that. So here's the organizer I made. I loved that you could change out the labels easily. I created it so that you could just wipe everything off. But this was made from tin cans from the chicken that you get from Costco and a paper towel holder that I got at the Dollar Tree. You guys, I really loved this one and was so happy to see that you enjoyed it as well. Truth be known, this was a gift, so I'd like to say I don't have it anymore, but I really loved it and couldn't part with it. I did end up making another tiered organizer for my friend, but I did keep this one. I loved that when I'm working on a project that has hardware or little bits, I can just separate all of these little bins and get to everything easily and then just store it so that nothing gets lost. I loved this one, and I think if I hadn't made it in the colors that I love so much, I probably would have given it to her. But you guys, it fits my space. I can't get rid of it. So this one stays. I love this one. With storage in mind is number 8, and that is the DIY layered storage box. I was trying to mimic the boxes that you can get for Christmas ornaments, where you pull out trays and each tray reveals more storage. This one was such an easy box to make and pull out. I was really proud of this one. And what I liked about it is you can cover it with anything you want, meaning that you can absolutely customize it. But you could also build it with multiple layers if you have a lot more. Today I am currently using it in my office still. I wrapped mine with buffalo check. I see one little lip on the side is coming up, so I will re-tape that down. But I am currently housing all of my Crafty Organizer zipper totes. And if you would like one of these, stick around to the end because I will be sending these out to people, so stay tuned for those details. But this box has worked really well. Everything is held up. Adding that little lip inside keeps that tray from going all the way down, so it works really well. And again, you could use this for memory items, ornaments, decor. It's a great addition if you are needing extra storage that is organized. Number 7 came out of necessity. As you know, we were all kind of locked in for a little while due to the pandemic, and during that time I did a little bit of wine sampling and I had these amazing boxes left over. If you already know what I'm talking about, then you've already seen number 7, which is the Totally Tiffany storage dupe. I made this all because of these little wine boxes I got. I was getting shipments where it held 3 bottles, and these boxes that the wine came in were so sturdy that I had to come up with something. So I built this cabinet with sections for each of the boxes to slide into, like drawers. I also showed how you could customize it for an aesthetic that meets you, but I loved this project. I loved it because of the way it looked. I loved it because of how incredibly sturdy it was, and because of all of the options you could have for storing ephemera or small beauty items or knitting things. Or the options were limitless with this, and I still love it. However, if you've watched how I redid my office into a store, you know that I just took it out. I'm not getting rid of it. It's currently sitting on the other side of my garage because I really do love it, and it is held up so well. I can easily incorporate it into my house at any given time and know it will still be just as functional as the day I made it. So if you are looking for a project that is going to give you tons of storage, definitely check out this one in the description below. Number 6 is the DIY storage box. Now this was a quick project. I had an existing box and I took file folders, some wrapping paper and scrapbook paper that I loved, and washi tape, and I made these dividers that will separate stickers. But you could do this with your die cuts. If you have stamp sets that are not in boxes, you could even do this with magazine or ephemera. I've really enjoyed this one, and I am still currently using it in my garage today. It's sitting over on a shelf. Some of the sections have gotten a little heavier, so the files are starting to lean over a little bit. So if I were to make this again, I would probably put some sort of stops at the bottom so that they don't flop over. But other than that, this is still working really well for me, and I enjoy having my stickers easy to access and organized into categories. Coming in at number 5 is a Kirkland dupe that I was going for, and that is the 3-tier storage cart. I made this for under $20 using some unconventional items from the Dollar Tree. Now, what was interesting about this video is I was really winging it and going through a thought process right along with you, showing you what was working and what wasn't. But what I was trying to duplicate was the Kirkland plant stand with the little chalkboard. I really thought this was so cute. So this is more what they were selling, and I thought it was adorable, but I had a little bit of a different plan in mind. And I definitely wanted you to know some other storage options since it had wheels. So you could use it for crafting if you needed more craft space. You could definitely use this in a kitchen or small area for snacks. You could also put the little plants on it like I had, which is how I ended up using it. I loved the ability to change out the chalkboard. It had that farmhouse rustic look. The shelves were strong enough that I could put a lot of things on it. But where is it today? It's still in my backyard. We have had a lot of rain in California this year, so I've got a lot of weeds and plants that are growing through, but it is held up very well. I've had a lot of shelves on here. The chalk washed off, but that's not a big deal. I can just go ahead and write a new sentiment on there. The pots didn't hold up. These are those Dollar Tree tins that say floors on there. That didn't hold up, but look at how well everything else has held up, you guys. I'm really proud of this one. Nothing slipped, nothing moved. I can still wheel it around and just write a new sentiment with the chalkboard. So this one was a huge winner. Since the number one thing I hear about in comments is I need more storage, I need better ways to store things, I need budget solutions, I came up with this incredible storage idea. I'm super proud to show number 4 on my list, which is the $5 large DIY storage. And this one was super strong. So I was trying to create a bookshelf that could go under my table at the end for sorting out projects as I'm working on them for videos. At this time, I was doing a lot with Annie's Creative Studio and keeping the kits separated from video projects that I was working on. I just wanted a solution to organize things. So I made this to fit under my table, and what I wanted to show you was different options for storage things could go in there, but I wanted to make it strong so you didn't have to worry about overloading it and having it break. And I made it strong enough to the point where I had 2 bins and they each held 5 pounds. 5 pounds each. I think as I was loading it up live, I was just praying that the shelf didn't collapse, but it didn't. And I left it on there for months with all of that paint in there, and those shelves held strong. So I am incredibly proud of this one that I came up with just because it has so many functions for you. If you're looking for storage, that is incredibly inexpensive. I don't know where else you could custom make a bookshelf for $5. So this one is one of my favorites, but where is it today? It is currently in my garage graveyard. Don't let the skeletons scare you. It just happens to be where my Halloween stuff is. It is currently in the back with my summertime fan, and the reason it is back there right now is it has been cold. So right now I have the space heater under my table to keep my garage warm. But as soon as it warms up, I'm going to get rid of the heater, pull that little shelf back out with my fan, and use it for the summertime. It's a great sorter for me with projects, so it's still holding up. Number 3 is actually the parent to that super strong storage unit I made. I was looking for more space on my desk to organize things, and I made this smaller bookshelf. And this was an easy build with foam core, and I was using a lot of glue gun and tape. This one also came with an instruction sheet. Sadly, when my computer crashed, I lost this, and it's no longer on my website. But this was a great little system for having smalls. I built it to fit a full ream of paper and to have little storage boxes inside. So where is this one today? Well, I live in Southern California, and I had it on the edge of my table towards the front of the garage. This whole space is in a garage, so when I have the door open, the west setting sun was directly shining on it, and we had a couple of 100+ degree days, and the glue reheated and collapsed. And when it collapsed, all of those heavy things that were inside of it came crashing down, which is what allowed me to learn so much. So when I made the stronger one, I knew what not to do to keep it super strong. So even though that one failed, it gave me a lot of information to make sure that future builds didn't collapse on me. Number 2 seems to be the most popular one that I still get active views on, and that is this spinning DIY tier craft storage. I made this specifically for acrylic paints. At the time, my kids were using them a lot, and I wanted them to have easy access to the paint. Now, this idea was from another YouTuber, and I do make sure to reference that idea in the original video. But this worked so well for the extra supplies like brushes and water and Q-tips, and it also had storage on the top. This was one of my best videos, and you guys really loved it. As of today, this item has been taken apart. It held up so well that I was using some expletives to take it apart because I used E6000 and hot glue. But I wanted to be able to reuse the Lazy Susan and the boxes, so I ripped it apart because I now have all of my acrylic paints on the wall, and it was just taking up more space than I wanted to allot for an item I wasn't using. However, if I hadn't pulled it apart, I promise it would still be just as sturdy and would be working just as well today. So what do you think is the #1 video of DIY projects I've made? I was certainly surprised by the one that got the most views because it was something that I built out of necessity for myself, and it is not a storage item. Are you ready to find out what it is? #1 is the DIY room divider. Now, I have a small 2-bedroom house with 2 children, so I gave up my bedroom so that each of my kids could have their own space. As a result, I moved into the living room, but I still wanted privacy. So I had put this bookshelf together along with a hall tree to kind of create division, and you can see my bed behind there. But this still had a large access area, meaning I had zero privacy. So I created these room dividers that I could attach to the bookshelves. And this was an extremely inexpensive project. I used some hinges so that I had a door that allowed me privacy in my space and allowed me to close it when I just didn't want the kids walking through and seeing me relaxing in my space. I also created storage space for my clothing. This was such an amazing project. I was really proud of it. The only thing I have ended up changing over time is I had used paper blinds because I was looking for super inexpensive solutions, and those ended up collecting a lot of dust and they weren't easy to clean. So I ended up swapping it out for vinyl shower curtains, which were also inexpensive because I still wanted light to filter through, but I wanted something that just kind of blended in. This has been up since my video, and I just recently took it down when my eldest went off to college and I was able to get a bedroom back, which, oh my gosh, how exciting is that? So it's currently sitting in a storage space up in the rafters because if I ever need a room divider again, you guys, this held up so well. With the hinges, I can put it around an area if I'm trying to just conceal things, break off a space. This was one that I absolutely recommend if you are looking for a room divider because it was easy, inexpensive, and has held up. Some items that didn't make it into the top 10 are this washi tape maker. I love this one and I'm still using it currently. My ink stamp holder, which I made out of the Dollar Tree Jenga blocks. And then of course my gutter wall, which was such an inexpensive build, but gave me incredible amounts of storage. But again, if you are interested in any of the DIYs that I've made, I have a complete playlist down in the description below. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button because I'm going to be redoing this laundry space in my garage. This was something I did right at the beginning of COVID, and even though I loved it, it hasn't quite held up the way that I had hoped. If you've seen this video and know how I made it, this was wrapping paper. So given that we were on lockdown 3 years ago, I'm actually surprised with how well it held up, but it still needs to be redone. So if you would like to see that, make sure you hit subscribe so that you know when I post those videos. And an update, my dad just had a new scan yesterday to see where the infection is. Please, if you are the praying type, say a little prayer. I'm really hoping that it is cleared up enough that they finally release him because we are just days away from 90 days in the hospital. So I'm really hoping he gets to go home and I can go back to a much more regular work routine of turning out videos and organizing for my clients. So thank you so much for sticking with me while I have been inconsistent in filming and posting. I hope to get that down again soon. If you would like to get one of the Crafty Organizer logoed bags, what this is, it's a little zipper pouch and you open it up and it becomes a full-size tote. Super cute. If you would like one of those, they are in my store and that information is in the description below. So thank you so much for watching today. Thank you so much to my patrons and I will see you guys in a few days. Bye.